Weight Watchers has a high fail rate, and I'm going to explain to you why. Hey everybody, it's Allie. I'm on a fantabulous weight loss journey. I'd love for you to come along for the ride. And today we're going to be talking about Weight Watchers because I've had quite a few people in the support groups pick a fight with me about Weight Watchers. And I've had quite a few people comment wanting to know, based on my previous videos, where I got the information about Weight Watchers having such a high fail rate. I want to preface this by saying that I'm going to be putting a lot of information on the screen, and this information may or may not apply to you if you use Weight Watchers. And I just want to start out by saying that our goal, all of us, is to be a healthier version of us, right? And if using Weight Watchers allows you to do that, then by all means do that, right? Because we're all different. We all have different needs. We all have different conditions, right? So I'm not your doctor. Speak with your doctor if you're concerned about any diet plan that you're doing. I'm just going to give you my opinion on Weight Watchers and why it has such a high fail rate. Now that we got that out of the way, let's jump right into it. So, Weight Watchers was created in the 60s by a housewife who wanted an easier way to count calories. So you have to think about things for the time frame in which they were created, right? So in the 60s, we didn't have apps to track our food. We didn't have, even like in the 80s where there were those little calorie counting books where you could, have calories broken down in there. Like in the 60s, you were just going off the nutrition label and what it said. And unless you were creating your own booklet, which is what this woman had been doing, to track your calories, then it was really just a pain, right? And she just didn't want to do it anymore. So she created these various food groups and assigned them certain points. And then based on that point system, she knew, okay, I can have a certain number of points in a day. Hence, Weight Watchers was born. And the other part was that she created a support group where all of them got together, weighed in front of each other, which is problematic, and I'll talk about that later, and provided each other with support while on their weight loss journey. So, there's the summary. Now, that's how Weight Watchers started. It has been revamped more times than I could count while I was researching to make this video. So I'm not going to talk about all the various revamps and how each one is more problematic than the last. I'm just going to focus on the last year or so that Weight Watchers has been out, because it gets harder and harder the farther back you go. And, every year we learn more, right? Medically, nutritionally, right? We learn more. And the idea is as you learn more, you grow, but, not everybody does that. So first of all, I want to be very clear that Weight Watchers falls into the category of a fad diet. And the reason why that is because it meets all of the criteria for a fad diet. And I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen so that you can take a look at that. Pause to read if you're not familiar with the criteria for a fad diet. So it meets all of the criteria for a fad diet. The main issue that I have with Weight Watchers is that it's like a twofold issue. One, they have all these 0-point foods that are not 0 calorie. So we're not teaching people calories. We're only teaching them points, which for many people, myself included, who are susceptible to binge eating or maybe even have an eating disorder, this is very problematic because it will fit into the mindset for those disorders. So not only is it a fad diet, but it could actually encourage you to continue binge eating, which we all know is problematic. The second part is that while there are these 0-point foods that are not 0 calories, you are allotted a certain number of points per day. So for example, I'll put an example up here of a recent post. And when I say recent, I mean it was made this morning. It popped up on my Facebook feed. And it's advertising a 1-point dessert that, I've seen posted many, many times. So I actually went online, found the calories for this dessert, and then went online and found what my Weight Watchers points would be and multiplied all of that up. I did the math. Math is not my strong suit, nor is it my favorite, but I did it. And those single serving 1-point desserts, if that's all I ate all day, I would be in such a calorie surplus at the end of the day. Not the end of the week, the end of the day. That I would literally be gaining weight every 2 days. Now, I want to be clear, this is a very extreme example. I'm doing that on purpose to prove a point, right? Because the rules are arbitrary, and the rules of the fad diet do not keep you from making this mistake, which is thinking that 0-point or 1-point items, whether it's a dessert or any other, means 0 or low calorie. It's not the same thing. So in this latest expansion, they've even expanded it out to include all sorts of things that are now 0-point. So you could literally eat 0-point foods all day and still gain weight, both at the end of just a few days and at the end of the week. That's not teaching people nutrition. That's not teaching people portion sizes. That's not teaching people calories. And because we don't have the kind of nutritional education that other countries have, we have to make up for it as adults, right? I can tell you, as a middle class individual who has completed, basic schooling through high school and has a college degree and taken nutrition courses, that our education on nutrition is so abysmal in the United States, it borders on non-existent. Whereas other countries, let me put it to you this way. If you would like a real eye-opener about how nutrition plays a role in a society, I would encourage you to get here on YouTube and look up the Japanese educational program around nutrition. It starts with kids when they first enter school and continues throughout their entire life. And it is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it 100% illuminates the fact that the US is just abysmal when it comes to nutritional education. So I encourage you to go watch videos about that, because it's a very real eye-opener if you are of the Western culture, about nutrition, balanced nutrition, teaching children how to create a healthy meal, right? They take it very seriously over there. And it's one of the reasons why they have a lower rate of obesity in that country, in Japan. So I don't want to get sidetracked with that. Let's get back to Weight Watchers. Points are not teaching you anything. Certainly not teaching you about calories and portion sizes. And the other thing is that points actually lead themselves, because it's score related. It actually leads more people into obsessive disorders based on points. And I actually read a testimonial this morning of a relatively young man who did the Weight Watchers program, who is now in therapy, because the Weight Watchers program not only unintentionally encouraged his eating disorder, but he now, even off the Weight Watchers program for multiple years, still struggles with thinking of things in terms of points and rationalizing to himself, oh, well, I can have this because it's 0 points, or I can have this because it's low points, even though he's not on the fad diet anymore. Now, will this be the case for everyone? No. But I like to highlight these points when I'm speaking to people who are on Weight Watchers, because these are the problematic outcomes that you're not thinking about when you're hopeful and just entering the program and you're like, I'm going to have a support system. Maybe you don't have friends and family who's supportive. As somebody who's on a GLP-1 medication, I totally get that, right? Like, people are constantly attacking you for the choices that you're making to try to get healthy. But it's problematic. And if you're not prepared to address those problems, it's likely not a good fit for you. Now, let's touch on the whole support system, weighing yourself in public thing. Because whether you're doing an online program where you're weighing in again on like a scoreboard or a leaderboard, or you're doing the actual in-person meetings where you're weighing yourself in front of other people, this is problematic for multiple reasons. One, it is 100% emphasizing that if you do not lose weight, you are a failure. And this is something that is rampant in diet culture in general. And it's very, very hard for those of us who have yo-yo dieted our whole lives, like myself. It's very hard to reconcile that shame and anguish and embarrassment in your mind at the time that it's happening. So do they call it a support system? Yeah, sure. Because what are they going to call it? Come on down and join us in the shame game, where you get on the weight and we go, better looks next time, Sally. Looks like you gained a pound this week. But they don't actually teach you anything about nutrition. They don't actually teach you that, hey, Sally, if you ate a high sodium meal yesterday, the scale's actually not going to be accurate today because you're going to be retaining water. And I've been to meetings. I have had multiple people in my life that have tried to get me to do Weight Watchers. And I'm like, well, can I just go to a meeting and see what it's all about? Because like the whole concept was immediate red flags to me, even as a younger adult. So I was like, okay, well, can I just go? Yeah, sure. You can go to one meeting and see what it's like. the amount of anxiety and fear that was on these women's faces. Now, mind you, the meetings that I went to, we only ever had women. There weren't any men there. So, but the anxiety, the fear, the rampant fakeness. Oh my God. You could just tell that these Weight Watchers people did not want to be there. It was all very, hi, how are you? You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you walk into a scenario, like for ladies, for any of you that have gone to like a Mary Kay thing, where they tried to, or an Avon thing where they tried to be your best friend to get you to sell stuff, or anyone who's been involved with an MLM trying to recruit you, and all of a sudden they're your best friend, and their pitch gets very high, like the pitch of their voice gets very high, right? By the way, if you have a dog and you're listening to this video, I hope that they're freaking out right now. Because I just woke up Kevin with my antics. Anyway, it was like immediately, I was recognizing all of the masking and anxiety and fear and disdain to be there by the employees. Like, it was just bad. It was just all bad. And it was all fake. And all these women were like shaking hands and hugging and, hey, how are you? Hey, girlfriend, right? And then they get up on the scale and it's like everybody's craning an ear to hear, oh, how much weight did Jane lose this week? Oh my God, she gained 2 pounds. I told her not to eat that ice cream, right? Like, I don't know. It's like people who need drama in their life that don't have it normally. Anyway, it was horrifying. And I just want to be clear, these are all of my observations just as a person outside of the Fad Diet or whatever that cult structure is. None of these people were mean to me. None of these people were unkind to me. None of these people had said anything untoward or bad in front of me. This is all my observation. And I'm a very observant person. I am one of those people that I go into a meeting or I go into a room and I'm going to watch people and listen and let them tell me who they are before I open my mouth. So I have a degree in psychology, in case anybody's wondering why I'm, kind of silly about stuff like that. So anyway, it was bad. And I was like, when I got back in the car with my friend, who was significantly older than me at the time, I asked her, I said, why would you put yourself through that? Do you actually like these people? Well, no, we're all just kind of nice to each other because we're in a support group. Okay, so you're being fake. Do you enjoy getting up there and weighing yourself in front of everybody like that? Well, no, but it holds us accountable. If your motivation is that you don't want to be super embarrassed in front of other people and be judged by them, that's a really bad idea. That is not motivation. That's scare tactic, right? And you can call it holding somebody accountable till you're blue in the face. But I can tell you right now, psychologically, 0 of those people are saying to themselves, I'm holding myself accountable this week, even though I'm sad that I gained a pound or that I didn't lose any weight, and I'm comparing myself to Sally because she lost 2 pounds, and I hate her, and I hate her life, and I wish I had that life. Do you see how quickly that devolved, just completely derailed? straight down. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Like, there is no positive thought process with that. I'm so glad I have this support group of people who are totally fake and don't care about me at all and don't know me and probably talk smack about me behind my back. Like, again, I'm being extreme for the sake of entertainment, but the point is still valid. You really have to look at, is this working for you? Is seeing your name on an online leaderboard that you lost more weight than Sally, is that really what's important to you? Are you going to feel bad about yourself if you didn't lose weight? Or if you see that someone's judging you because you're in this public setting? Is that going to bother you? How is that going to affect you long term? These are all things that you have to ask yourself. So, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Again, I want to reiterate that if you are taking a GLP-1 medication and a Weight Watchers program works for you, then I'm happy for you. This video is really just to open people's eyes that have not been exposed to Weight Watchers, or that they don't know what it's all about or why it's problematic. Because there is a very small number of people that it's going to work for. And everybody likes to go into it thinking, yeah, I'm going to be one of those people. And then they come to find out that they're not. They're actually one of the average Joes that just gains weight back or gives up halfway through. And you just paid all this money for what? To be publicly embarrassed? So you can hold yourself accountable? Like, there's so many other more motivating, mentally positive, safe for your mental health options to hold yourself accountable if that's really what you need. So, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated this video and you love Weight Watchers, give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And don't forget, be kind, rewind.